That song is lit.
Thank you.
Pissy elevators, shitty hallways. Only $1, split it 4 ways. Credit in the store, needles on the floor. If I had one wish, I wish for more. Nobody.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of How to Beat the Streets podcast. Oh man, now today is a special day, man. I got a special guest in here, man. Teacher, professor, principal. I'm just gonna say educator, man. She do a lot. World traveler. Without further ado, everybody, show some love to Miss Ornella Parker.
Hi, everyone.
How you feeling today?
I feel good. It's an honor to be here, and I'm super excited for this conversation we're about to have.
That's dope. You sound mad professional. Okay. So like here on the show, How to Beat the Streets, we always get started with a quote. The quote we got for you today is, "Don't tell me how educated you are. Tell me how much you have traveled." What does that quote mean to you?
Wow. Okay. So just a quick tidbit about me. Ramel already said it in the beginning, but I am a world traveler. That's like what keeps me balanced with all the things that I do. So right now I've been to 35 countries, and for me, I know, right? So many more to go though.
Gotta drop the bomb for that. Hold on. What's the number again?
35.
Oh, nah.
More to come though.
We're gonna get into that.
Right. But that quote means to me is you can't really say you're educated until you've actually explored the world. Your education is literally limited to where you are if you haven't traveled anywhere. So I feel like I learn a lot from just experiencing other people, experiencing other cultures. So people could say they're educated, but to what extent if you haven't really seen the rest of the world?
Damn, I feel like that's a shot at me, man. I only got like 3-4 stamps. I gotta
It's better than zero. It's better than zero though.
Nah, that's a fact. All right, so question of the day. We always, after the quote, I like to get into a question of the day, and of course we're gonna get into all of your amazing gem and your story and all that. But the question of the day is, because we met in TFA. For everybody that don't know, we both was in TFA. What's that? 2014.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years now. You know what I mean?
In a decade soon. Yep.
Right. So the question of the day is, what is the biggest challenge of being an educator in 2023?
Ooh, okay. This question is really forefront because I feel like we've almost been in the education game for like 10 years now, right? That sounds crazy. It's giving us kind of telling our age and stuff. But no, thinking about it, like I feel like now more than ever, it's harder. And like to say that, they say normally like when you're in a field, it gets easier with time, right? But I feel like recently it hasn't been easier. It's been actually harder. And for me, I honestly tie it to a few different things. One of it is just like COVID, and like not to use that as an excuse, but like COVID has really opened our eyes to the fact that we weren't educating our kids properly, right? We still are dealing with like the obstacles that have like arise because of COVID. So like kids are years behind in their education, and we're still trying to teach them the same way, using the same curriculums we were using before COVID, the same structures, but that doesn't work, and it's been proven that it doesn't work, right? And I think tying that to the fact that the students that we teach now and like our communities are becoming more conscious of like the inequities that are happening. So tying inequities to like the impact of COVID, we still have so much work that we need to do, and we're still using that same cookie cutter mold to teach our kids, and it doesn't work. So I feel like that's part of what makes it really challenging is we know what we're doing doesn't work, but like finding what really is going to make a difference for our kids is still a challenge. Like there's no check, this is what it is, and like everyone here, copy it, use it, because every community is different, every community has different needs. So like once we move away from this idea of like everyone needs to use the same model, I feel like we'll get to a place where education will be more individualized and actually effective.
I definitely agree, man. This year for me, I feel like was the year where I received that question, how is this going to tie to my real life? Like I received that question a lot more this year, so I definitely feel like the kids are starting to understand a little bit more of like, all right, where's this hard work going? You know what I mean? Like even like past the, like I work with middle schoolers, but I have a lot of college graduates coming back now, and it's kind of sad when I see them coming back and they're not excited about their college experience. They're like, I'm away, but I don't know, what I want to do with my lifestyle. I'm not seeing the spark that I thought was gonna happen when I got on, the college campus, and that had me really in deep thought. Like, man, what do we need to do, especially, someone for me that's working on it with the younger kids, like how can I prepare them for real life for real?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know the state test and blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing that most schools push for, but it's like they need something more. You know what I mean? It's evident now, like you said.
Yeah, I feel like, to your point, forget the state test. Like, it is going to be what it is, right? They got to take a test. That's just part of the game right now. But what are we actually doing? What are we equipping our students with so that when they leave, they are able to be successful, college or beyond? Because college is not for everyone, honestly. But like, how are we like making sure that you're ready for the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have students. I taught middle school when I first started, and all my students are basically graduating college. Like now,
so it
feels crazy. I literally was just talking to one of my students. She's like my daughter. She just picked up her graduation cap and gown, right?
Wow.
But through her 4 years there, like I watched her struggle with like what does it mean to be like equipped and ready to like really maneuver college and just real life. And I don't know if our school systems really did that for them, because it's not the content. They're never going to see those questions again. They're never going to see that state exam again. But like, what is the actual real life skills and hardcore skills that they need to leave with to be ready for the real world?
Whew. We got deep already, y'all.
Know,
all right, we're gonna take it back a little bit. What's your name and where you from?
All right, so the name is Ornella Parker,
Hey.
The one and only, period. But I was born and raised on a beautiful island of Jamaica.
Big ups.
Yeah, bop bop. I moved to New York, specifically Brooklyn, when I was 8.
Ooh, BK, what's up?
Flatbush is where I moved to and where I still live till this day. That's my heart. But yeah, that's
What age you moved to Brooklyn?
Like when I was 8.
8. Oh, okay. Oh, so wait, you was in Jamaica the whole like 0 to 8?
Yeah.
Oh, so we got to get into that. What was the like the biggest difference? Like I could imagine for a 3rd, 4th grader coming from Jamaica into this whole new world. You're in Brooklyn. Like, what was that like?
Honestly, this goes into why I got to education, but I'll give you a little tidbit. So when I first moved here, I think the biggest difference is to me is that I had to identify something else. When I was in Jamaica, I was just Jamaican. Like, that's it. You're either Jamaican or you're not.
Right.
Then I moved to America, and all of a sudden, I'm black. I'm like, what is that? Like, so no, I had to learn that what race is when I moved here, right?
Okay.
And I didn't really realize it that much when I was younger, because you're still like, you're naive to where you're around. But that's when I got introduced to the idea that I'm a black female.
Okay. Wow. All right. I didn't know you. I thought when I first met you, I thought you like, a lot of people say, oh, I'm from Jamaica, or I'm from Brazil or whatever, but they, came here at a real early age, 1, 2, or maybe a baby, but 8 years old. Okay, so you know a lot about Jamaica. All right, so what's the main? I'm not even gonna go there. Let's go to your highest level of education.
Oh, okay. So I have 2 master degrees.
You said that lightly.
It feels lightly now, like, but no. My first master's is when I was a teacher. I got a master's in adolescent education with a focus in special education. So for grades like 7 to 12. And then my second degree I got from Columbia and is for education leadership. So it was the Summer Principals Academy. But yeah, those are my 2 masters. Prior to that, I have a bachelor's. But yeah.
I think I'm gonna be like dropping bombs all day, man. Like people give a lot of love, especially this is what I love to do, man. Like highlight, people like us in this type of, space, you know what I mean? Conquering the degrees. And I'm pretty sure you said it earlier, you're not done yet. So
yeah.
I gotta watch out, world.
Speaking of not done, I actually just I just enrolled to go back to school in the fall.
Yeah, what you want now?
I am going to get my advanced certificate. I'm already licensed as a school building leader, but now I'm going to get my certification to be an advanced school district leader.
Okay. So what are you currently doing right now?
So I am a professor. I teach graduate students that are currently becoming teachers like us.
Hey.
So yeah, it's kind of cool to see that whole 360 full circle experience where like, wait, that used to be me in grad school and now I'm teaching them. And then also I am a school leader, so an assistant principal for the past 5 years.
Nice. So I think what a lot of people probably want to know, they probably looking at the camera like, yo, she looks 17. So how do you manage like being fairly young in those like heavyweight positions, professor, principal, like school leader? How do you manage that?
So I honestly had a student ask me this question not too long ago around like, why did you decide to become an assistant principal? And part of it is because I really feel like I need to be in that space, and I'll talk a little bit more around why, but also because I was told that I couldn't be in those spaces, and being a Leo and a Jamaican, you can't tell me that I can't do something because now I'm gonna prove you wrong. Yeah. But honestly, like when I started teaching, I was teaching for like 4 years, and I realized that I'm only making impact in my classroom, right? And like I joined education to be able to make a impact across. So like me making an impact in my classroom isn't really at the scale that I want, no, right? And I had to think like, what can I actually do to make a larger impact? And that's going into leadership. At the time I was 25 and people kept looking at me and was like, you're 25. Why would you want to be?
Oh, they messed up. They messed up when they told you that.
Don't do that. Don't tell me I can't do something. But I then realized that, wait a minute. Now I'm thinking back, all the leaders that I had in my school building when I came here from 3 all the way up to like when I graduated high school, they were all white. And they were all older. So it was like, I didn't see Black females that were my age that held those roles. And I want my students to be able to see that they're representing those spaces, and that's an option for them. So you told me I can, so now I'm going to do it. And here we are.
And, oh, man, listen, y'all. I hope already, where the camera's at, already, you know what I mean, dropping heavy gems. Because what I just took from that is like, 1, what is the word no? You know what I mean? And 2, like, you can't box us in. Like, when you're educated, you know, it's endless to the things that you could do, right? So the name of this show is called How to Beat the Streets, right? And you from Brooklyn. So half of my family's from Brooklyn. My father's from Brooklyn. And my father actually got shot and killed in Brooklyn.
I'm sorry.
So being that I already know growing up in Brooklyn is tough. So, like, how was you able to just beat those circumstances? Like, you know, it's the fast life. You see the guys probably, you know, what's up, shorty? How you doing? You got to deal with that. And then it's a lot of negativity around, you know what I mean? So how was you able to stay so focused?
Honestly, part of it is like I learned from failure, and I know that sounds odd, but I learned from the mistakes I made, but also the mistakes other people around me made, because I feel like those are where your major lessons come from. It's great to have the wins, like, yay, we won, I accomplished this, but like when you fail, what did you do in those moments? Did you learn? Did you adapt? Did you reflect? And like that's how I honestly learned. But you said something just now around like there's a lot of negativity in those spaces, but I feel like by whose definition, right? Because honestly, the things that are around me made me who I am. And it brings me to this idea of duality, right? Like I can be educated, but I still love ratchet stuff. Like, and I could love to go to school, but I like traveling. Like there's no box. And I feel like for the longest, because of society norms, people feel like if I don't fit in this box, then I actually can't enter these spaces. And that holds a lot of people back, right? When I was growing up, I didn't think that I could become an educator. That wasn't in something in my mind because I didn't match the model of the educators I saw, right? And where I grew up, the people around me didn't match the model of what educators grew up what we grew up looking like. So for me, I think, I don't know if that was negativity around me, but that's my culture and it made me who I am. And I took lessons from that and I was able to enter spaces. Like if I didn't grow up in the streets and like had the influence of the streets, when I got to spaces and people told me, no, you can't do that, I probably would have backed down. But like, I'm from the streets, you can't tell me I can't do that. Now, like what happened?
And that's why I wanted to mention that, because like, I get that question a lot too. Like, yo, how was you able to tell people about my father getting killed, my grandfather was locked up, even my grandmother was locked up. Like, and a lot of people don't know these things about me. I grew up in one of the worst projects in Harlem, and a lot of people ask me that question, but I'm like, that's my motivation. Like, I get up every day and I'm fired up because it's like, I do have, you know, people that I've seen get incarcerated at a young age. I do have family members that lost their life to gun violence. So what you think I'm doing with my 24 hours? Like, it's infinite, you know what I mean? I appreciate life much more. So growing up in the streets, I feel like it's actually a gift and a curse sometimes, because you use, like you said, the wise learn from others' mistakes. So people making mistakes around me, they're going to make me better ultimately anyway, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Let's keep it going. So first thing I wanted to figure out, when I was studying your story in particular, right? You got a lot of things going on. You did a lot of things at a young age. So one, I wanted to ask you, how do you keep motivated? And then I got another question, but I want to know that first. Like, how do you stay motivated to keep pushing? Even now, you just mentioned like adding another goal on top of like what you got already going on. So like, what really keeps you motivated?
It goes back to this idea of failure. The minute we stop growing, we start dying. And I've heard that from somewhere, and I honestly think it's true. Like, if we're not working to grow and be better every day, then what are we really doing with life, right? And that's not to say like not being content where you are. Like I'm happy where I am right now, but how do I improve and become better? Because the more I improve, I open doors for others behind me, right? And that means a lot to me. The reason I even joined education is because when I did not go to school for education. I was there for healthcare management. I thought I was going to be making a big bang sitting in someone's hospital, right? But no, I got all the way to the end of my undergrad degree, and I looked around and I'm like, these don't look like the people that I grew up in Brooklyn, like, and why? And I started realizing that what made the biggest difference and gave me opportunities was education. And not just education, the teachers that stood in front of me in education, right? Because I am not smarter than the people I grew up with. I'm not any better than them, right? I told you I still live in Flatbush. Those are my friends. Like, so for me, it's like, wait a minute, there's something really wrong with this system, and like, how do you fix it? So I really joined to be able to be a difference in that system. So that's what keeps me motivated. It's like every time I know every time I accomplish something, that's just opening the door for anyone that's coming behind me to see that it's a possibility.
Yo, just the fact that you answered the question like that is already making me sad, because one of the plans I had today was to bring a young lady in here and have her ask you a few questions. So she did give me her question. You know, she couldn't make it today, but she gave me her question. And the whole big purpose of you coming up here today, I wanted to make sure that I get someone like you who can inspire, you know, all of the young women who might, you know, not fit in, or they might think like, I don't think I could, you know, be in that space, so I can't like be a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever it is. So her question to you was, how do you find your passion?
Ooh, okay. First off, I wish she was here because that's a deep question.
That's why I normally like, I wanted her to come in because she get deep like that. But that's what she wanted to know. It's like, for someone who did so much, she was like, how does she know like what to do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah. So one, connect us. I need to meet whoever that is because she already starting off with the hitter. Right. Go ahead, Paige. I would say how you find your passion is, for the longest, you're gonna, wherever you are right now, you're gonna think that's your passion. You're gonna think like, I have it figured out. I tell you to be open to opportunities around you and try new things. And the reason I say that is every time I did something else, I saw what else was possible out there. Like until I got into education, I didn't know that like me being an assistant principal was an option, right? Until I became an assistant principal, I didn't know me being a professor was an option. Like until I became a professor, like, you know, so each time you take on a different opportunity, it opens your horizon to like what else is out there. So I would say your passion is not one thing. It's I guess the idea and the mindset around like, I just want to grow. So I feel like you'll stumble upon your passion as long as you allow yourself to be open to new experiences.
Wow. Thank you for that. So speaking of this, we got a hot topic for you, right? So the hot topic we got today, I don't know if you heard about Angel, I hope I'm saying their names correct, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
So basically, you know, she was doing her thing. They was in the championship game. She was doing like the John Cena.
Yep.
And they both did the same thing, but somehow, you know, everybody's coming at Angel Reese, and you know, she from Baltimore, and they said the girls from Baltimore, the black girls from Baltimore, is normally like, you know, it's kind of like the same thing that they say about New York City girls. Yep. It's like they act like dudes and they all da da da. So I wanted to know, you as an educator, do you experience things like that? Like, do you feel like, you know, you can't make certain mistakes, or you don't have as much room for error or room for growth as like some of your like white counterparts? I don't want to say the word white, but
say
you know.
It's the reality, right? I'm gonna take our educator out of the question. As a black female, absolutely, any space I've ever entered in, I have that going against us. And I just want to say, one, I respect Angel completely because she's standing her ground, and that makes a big difference, right?
Salute the Angel.
Yeah, go off, sis, and keep going. I'm supporting you. But outside of that, there's a lot of minorities, right? Like as a black male, you encounter like different obstacles. Mm-hmm. But for a black female, we have this weird intersection of both like racism because we're black, but then also sexism because we are female, right? And those things combined puts it at a greater disadvantage than many other minority groups. So like whenever I enter space, I have those two things going against me at all times, right? So yes, I've experienced that in any area of my life, in school, in real life, in work, like you name it. And then add age in there, right? Like being young, so that ageism comes in, right? I think honestly, my biggest suggestion to that is just like, you have to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, when you enter those spaces, they're going to try to define you for yourself. And if you don't know who you are, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's who I am. And like basically step down and back off based on whatever they define you as. So do the work to know who you are and what you stand for before you step into those spaces.
And if you had a quick, you know, inspirational quote or some words for Angel Reese, what would you tell her right now?
I say shine, sis, because what you're doing right now is going to determine how other Black females after you show up in spaces when they encounter same obstacles. So continue to push back, because if you back down, then every Black female after you is going to have to still face that same challenge.
There you go. Now, my personal question to you: if money wasn't a factor, what would you be doing right now? Like, just forget. No, you don't have to worry about bills, none of that stuff. Like, you just moving to your own like beat. What would you be doing?
I honestly feel like I still would be doing what I'm doing now. I love being around kids. Like, they really refuel me, and it really centers me back into like why I do what I do.
That's dope.
So I definitely think, even minus the money, not saying even though I feel like I should be getting paid more, but minus the money, I definitely would still be doing what I'm doing now.
All right. Now, more on the personal side. So, you traveled a lot of places, right? What's your favorite place you traveled? And tell us a little bit about that experience.
I hate when people ask me this question. I don't have a fave. I'm going to force myself to find one right now. But I don't have a fave because I feel like everywhere I go, I learned something new from there, or like I had an experience that was different from anywhere else, right? Mm-hmm. But not being biased, my fave would have been Jamaica, but I won't use that because I was born there. So I would have to say probably I'm going to go with Japan. And the reason why I'm choosing Japan is because the technology. Like, the experiences I had there was nowhere else. Like
you said the technology.
Yeah.
So what's something new that you've seen?
I don't know. It's honestly, it's just like the basic things we do. Like, even their museums is like all technical, like AI was already introduced there before like we started talking about AI here. So like they're just like ahead of the game in regards to what they're doing.
And all right. So now, out of all of you said 35 countries, right? Mm-hmm. That's a lot, yo. You gotta give it up to that. Like, have you ever traveled solo?
That is my favorite type of travel.
What?
Yeah. So I travel solo because you see the face you just made. You're like, what? Because people kept saying you can't do it as a female.
Did I can't do it go again?
I seriously, I think it's the Leo in me. I'm like, raw.
So you're not scared, nothing like that?
No, I don't live in fear, because I feel like when you live in fear, you hold yourself back from like what you could be experiencing in the world. And the places I travel solo were some of my best vacations ever.
Give us one.
I went to Cabo alone, Aruba, Jamaica. Where else have I gone?
I said, give us one. She's
sorry,
still going.
the list started going.
So you traveled those. That's. I feel like one. That's gonna be a highlight. I feel like for people watching, it's like, especially right now, it's been a lot of like stigma on traveling. Like, I think something happened to like a couple in Mexico, and then even like the young lady, she got into a bad fight and she ended up passing away through the fight.
Yes.
So I feel like there's a lot of stigma right now on traveling. So to have someone in the building today who've traveled multiple countries by themselves, like, that's like a big salute to you.
I honestly feel like it's the same as traveling with people. You educate yourself and just make sure you're safe and you're making choices that will obviously protect you. But the same way I feel like you could get harmed alone, you could get harmed with a group of people. So I don't live in fear. I'm gonna go experience it. I'm not waiting for anybody to. So that's why I travel alone.
And man, I know a lot of people, they hate that. When you're traveling with a group, somebody don't got it, somebody gonna back out, somebody say, oh, I can't do this, can't do that. Even for me, like with guys, like sometimes you go out and it's like, this person want to do this person want to do that. It's too much to like keep everybody together on one accord. Yep. That's way too hard. So I'm thinking about traveling by myself one time.
Do it.
All right. So this part of the show, one, I know you went through, something tragic with your mom, and I have this part of the show. It's called My Mama Love Gems. First, I was going to take it out due to respect for you, but I also want to honor your mom, and one, I'm going to give a moment of silence for your mom. Respect, you know what I mean?
Appreciate
and
that.
Can you share, like, just any gem that your mother gave you that, the world could benefit from?
All right. So one, I appreciate you not taking it out because I love speaking about my mom. But thank you for being respectful and giving that moment of silence. I would say my mom is Jamaican, so any gem she gave me includes some cursing in there. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit for y'all.
You could go.
But she honestly has just taught me just not to fit into the norm of like to be a leader, honestly, like, and to be willing to like, I'm gonna use like, I guess like fight against whatever people are saying about you, because she's been doing it her entire life. Like, she does not fit the norm of like what a feminine woman should look like, right? And I learned that from her. So like at first I used to be like, dang, I'm not affectionate, because my mom wasn't affectionate. But like she is who she is, and there's reasons behind why she's like that, and I take from her, and it helped me. Like, I know how to maneuver situations where people who are high in emotion can't maneuver the same way that I can, because I learned that from my mom. But I say that to say, because of my mom, I have started a non-for-profit for women of color to help them progress against all the obstacles that they face.
What's the name of it?
It's called E for P. The P stands for Paulette, because that was my mom's name.
Nice.
But yeah, so everything for Paulette. And basically, we are launching this year. We just started off our kickoff, but it's to help support and have women plan so that they can achieve more within their lifetime.
Wow, that's dope. I feel like you got a lot of stuff going on, very bright future, you know what I mean? I can see it. So putting you on segment. So this part of the show, you know, we want you to just highlight maybe like a book, a movie, a podcast, anything that helps you, you know, get in your bag, like stay motivated, get ready and upbeat, whatever, you know what I mean? Something that like just spark that positive energy in you.
So I'm going to shout this book out. There's a few, but I'm going to shout this one out. It's called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And
he was just in the media lately too.
Was he?
You seen it?
No, I missed
like
it.
Something about he said in order to like get like black people to, you know, listen a little bit more, you have to like talk in a certain way, and you got to like talk about certain things. You got to check that out.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That's how I first heard his name. You know what I mean? From the negative media, but
yeah. But honestly, with anyone you read, like, you have to take what they say and adapt it to what makes sense for you, and take the parts that matter. The part from his book that I do think that I'm going to like, that helps me keep going, is this idea of like, whatever you're like envisioning for your life right now is not enough. Take whatever it is and multiply it by 10, not by 5, not by 2, but by 10. And the reason why I like that is because sometimes, like, when I'm doing something, I start questioning. Like, you don't get that moment where you start questioning yourself. You're like, oh, this is hard. Like, but it's like, there's more that you could be doing than this. So like, this is just one little hurdle towards whatever else that's out there. So like, this is nothing. Get past this, Ornella. And honestly, it's helped me a lot, because I used to dream based on like what I saw around me. And now I'm starting to push myself outside of that. It's like, there's way more out in this world. And even if it hasn't been envisioned yet, envision it, make it happen.
10X. What's the name of that book again? I gotta get
It's called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone.
All right. Now, if we was watching a movie on the life of Miss Ornella Parker, what would be the 3 key takeaways from that movie? Let's start with number 1.
All right. That's a hard question. Now I gotta think about it. What do I want my movie to be like?
Yeah. What are you gonna take away?
The first one, I think I've been saying it this whole call, is like, don't tell me no. If you tell me no,
I was gonna say that. You ain't say it. I was gonna say it for you.
If you tell me no, I'm gonna prove you wrong. The second one is just like, envision more for yourself than what you currently are. And then the last one is just like, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? And hoping that it impacts those that look like you. So like, being a role model for everyone that comes behind.
Oof. All right. Now, we're gonna wrap up, but we're gonna end before we end. I want you to finish this statement. Right now, Ornella is.
That's a blanket statement. I could say anything.
Right now, Ornella is.
Right now, Ornella is in a transition phase, exploring what else is possible for me in the world.
Wow. And there you have it, y'all. Another episode of How to Beat the Streets podcast. Can you let them know where they can find you, whatever you got going on, whatever you want to promote?
So I can be found on Instagram. It's at hi, like hello, H-I, Queen Parker. I also have an Instagram for the not-for-profit. It's at e4p.mpo. And I'm on YouTube, TikTok, all of that good stuff. Same handle, at Hi Queen Parker.
Make sure y'all tap in with Miss Ornella, you heard?
Pissy elevators, shitty hallways, only $1, split it 4 ways. Credit in the store, needles on the floor. If I had one wish, I wish for more.